Hey everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle and thanks for joining me here. At this current time, in 2019, we are experiencing the shift of the political spectrum across Western civilization to the very hard left-wing side of politics. Hard leftists, normally called progressives, are dragging the rest of the United States and Western Europe further to the political left through mandating equality of outcomes for supposed underprivileged groups, through the threat of government force, as well as more multiculturalism and a heightened demand of minority representation and action. And because of this, the United States is currently experiencing an odd time in which the Democratic Party itself is, or has already lost a good chunk of its supporters. From this article from Time, divided Democratic Party debates its future as 2020 looms. 2020 looms. It just talks about how, Democrats that were, pretty proud Democrats who have been with the party all their life from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, to even the early 2000s, they find that the party now doesn't, represent them. It was traditionally a champion of the working class, but the Democratic Party now has shown that its future, and the future of the United States, is full-blown socialism. There is no other alternative for the Democratic Party with our current political makeup. The Democratic Party, of course, must go left, or even further to the left, if they want to be politically relevant and continue to hold power. It's all about power. Now, I could say the same thing for the Republican Party, which is a spineless party, but everything is pretty much all about power. This means that the only other party that the former Democratic Party members can go to is the Republican Party, which will shift the Republican Party, the supposed right-wing party, further to the left. And the beliefs of the former Democrats will become more and more mainstream as they join the Republican Party, which alienates the actual right-wing side of the party. And that's obviously called the Overton window, which is further defined by an idea or policy may seem radical at one time, but over time, it will become more normalized and accepted. Here's an article from Newsweek saying Howard Schultz, who I believe is the CEO of Starbucks, saying that the Democratic Party left me. I didn't leave them, but they left me. Go figure, huh? Normally, of course, I only care about the parties when it's election time, and to see who will slow down the collapse of our civilization. I like our civilization, but I recognize that there are problems that might not be able to be fixed unless someone has the power to fix it. But still, as the left-wingers continue to push left, it's very interesting to see the Democratic Party fracture. Let's see, for example, let's take Medicare for All. This idea or proposed government takeover of the healthcare issue is a socialist belief. Nancy Pelosi, a veteran Democrat, has advocated that she is an agnostic on this issue, while many well-known Democrats like Ocasio-Cortez or Cory Booker are pushing this agenda. Of course, the cost, it's always about the cost for these type of issues, to the current and future taxpayers would be ginormous. Absolutely ginormous. But, this political government program is just one of several further left-wing policies being explored. Another, of course, is the abolishment of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, usually known as ICE, as well as flirting with the idea of open borders. Open borders is such a radical idea that will slowly become more and more mainstream, at least in the left-wing media, as the people think about it and the Democrats push for it. Open borders is literally asking for your country to die culturally, economically, and even mentally, spiritually. I could go on. Democrats who support this, to have an open border and no immigration police, include Mark Pocan from Wisconsin and Kristen Gillibrand from New York. And these really aren't fringe Democrats. These aren't the few on the extreme left. I mean, this is, I would say, a pretty good chunk of the party supports this. And this is just the future of the party. When the Democrats voted to remove ICE in the House of Representatives, they either voted absolutely yes or just voted present in their voting, which means that they are abstaining their vote. Most did not vote no on the dismantlement of ICE, which I have in my sources below in the description. This looks like the old guard of the Democratic Party is trying to unify its members while desperately looking like they are moderate leftists. For example, from CBS News, Pelosi rejects socialism, says it's not the view of the Democratic Party. Well, maybe it's not the view exactly right now, but within 5, 10, 15, 20, within 20 years, it will be the main, economic model for the Democratic Party. People like Nancy Pelosi or touch and feel Joe Biden are like the last of the old generation of Democrats as the youth of the party continue to push left. From this article over here, Pelosi plays down influence of AOC wing of Democrats, saying it's like 5 people. Obviously, it's not 5 people. It's, like I said, a good chunk of the Democratic Party are pushing for this. And as these radical ideas are being more and more accepted by the fringe few, people on the other side of the political spectrum are being shoved further right, away from these crazy ideas. But, it's just fascinating to see this happen in our own lifetimes. If you're young, this is new and interesting, I suppose. If you're old, you're just like, wow, I can't believe they actually went this far. But regardless, these, of course, are my observations and some thoughts as to the current political arena. But then again, Ronald Reagan said in the 1950s and 60s, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. But with that in mind, thank you very much for watching. That's all I have for you today. I'm Brazen Eagle, and I hope you have a great day.